Max just heard us. It's going to be 2024.
Oh, I just got an email from Wise Wizard. They told me to shut up.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody. Tia here with some very special guests today. We have Max and Doolin over from Tablenauts. So, hello. Max, Doolin, you want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is Max. I, along with Doolin, help run the Tablenauts YouTube channel. We like to have a lot of fun, sit down, talk, play board games, and ultimately our goal is just to make you feel like you're a part of the group, sitting at the table across from us, and we can share our love for board games with you.
Yeah, it's super fun. We eat hot food sometimes. We dress up. We just have a good time.
If you're down for something exciting to watch, you may have seen them on the Board Game Geek front page talking about the hottest games. Those videos I really loved, as well as all the other videos on y'all's channel, but you should definitely check them out after this lovely video, where we are going to be talking about our 5 most anticipated games for 2022. So for me personally, I don't keep up much with newer games, so this will be interesting. Max, Doolin, was this an easy list for you guys to make?
It was fairly easy. I want it to be a little more different. I'm afraid I'm too basic, but like I'm not gonna lie to the people, right? Like I'm afraid my list is kind of same old, but I mean, it's what I'm most excited about, so I'm gonna tell it like it is.
It was difficult, but that's only because I had like 16 when I first started my list.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, here's my problem is like a year ago, I backed way too many games, and so I'm really excited for a bunch of them, and I've learned to not back everything I see now, but I'm very excited for the ones that are coming this year, so.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear your picks. Let's go ahead and start. Should I start with my first pick?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Speaking of backing games, I haven't backed many games on Kickstarter, but when this one was first announced a while back, all we saw was a picture of the cover, the designer, and the artist. And this is a game called So You've Been Eaten, which is by Scott Alms, and it features Quentin Moya art, which I'm a huge fan of, as many of you know. So this is a 1 to 2, technically it could be a 0-player asymmetrical game where one person is a miner delving into the belly of a beast and trying to collect minerals. The beast, however, is going to manage the bacteria in its stomach to try to eat the miner. So it seems like a really kind of out there theme, but as I understand it, Scott Alms really pulled from his experiences with Crohn's disease, which is a digestive disease where you actually, like, your body rejects food essentially and tries to attack it as if it was a foreign substance. So it was really interesting to me, the theme, the artwork. I love that it's asymmetrical and it has solo play. You can play as either the miner or as the beast on either side. And since they were both automated, you could technically even just set up an automation to go against itself. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but I was like, I'd be kind of down to watch that.
Yeah. I did not know that was that he kind of had some personal experience with Crohn's disease and kind of let that influence that. That's really interesting. I saw this played on Before You Play, I think, with Monique and Naveen was the first experience or exposure that I had to this game. But I agree, the theme and the art looks very awesome, very unique and interesting. Cool. I don't really know about how it plays too much, but I am intrigued by it already.
I've only heard good things about the gameplay.
This one was announced quite a while ago, or at least the cover art was released quite a while ago, and everybody thought it would be like released at Gen Con, but it got pushed back, and now the Kickstarter went up, which I backed immediately, like day one, as soon as I got the email. But it was projected to be here this year, which, as we all know, didn't happen. So fingers crossed that'll be here sometime next year, hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, that is my number 5 pick. So You've Been Eaten.
For my number 1, speaking of being bland and boring and everyone's already heard of all these things, is Frosthaven, and that is designed by
number
Isaac
5?
Childers.
It's not like higher?
I didn't order. Did you order yours?
Oh, I totally ordered mine.
Tia, did you order yours?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I just put 5 up. I didn't know it was a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's so good.
Max,
that's fine. Max is the wild card. We'll never know what's coming up.
This is a game that's been a long time coming. One of the first games that I backed on Kickstarter. I can't remember when it even launched, but I want to say like mid 2019 or something was when it was on Kickstarter. It's been a minute, and maybe I'm wrong. Hey, Draco. But I love Gloomhaven. I love Jaws the Lion. I love the, the progression, the unlocks, the story. It's just what I get like a video game feeling out of a board game, kind of, where there's so many things to do, so many things to unlock, whatever. And I've heard that this just takes what it learned from Jaws the Lion, what it learned from Gloomhaven, and what it's learned in the past couple of years, and just improves upon the entire formula. And it's just going to be even more content, which is super exciting. I love the game. Gloomhaven is one of my favorites, so I have to imagine this will be up there as well.
Yeah, I personally haven't looked too much into Frosthaven. I have a couple friends who backed it, so I figure I'll be able to play it with one of them. But playing through original Gloomhaven, definitely. And I think for me, I'm a little allergic to campaign games or really large dungeon crawlers. But I really like the card play of this one. That was the most intriguing part to me.
Agreed.
So that kind of made up for it. It really replaced like any other larger dungeon crawling game like Descent. I wasn't down for that, but I really, really love that about Gloomhaven. So excited to try Frosthaven when it comes out as well.
Yeah.
Have you played, did you play Gloomhaven with a group or did you play it solo?
Yeah, we played it with a group of 3.
I played most of mine at 2-player, but I do think Gloomhaven is like the dungeon crawler Euro game. I mean, I'm not going to say that it is, but like it's the closest thing to a Euro game in a dungeon crawl that I'm aware of, because it's 96% strategical instead of being, more dice rolling, stuff like that.
Right.
And it's interesting that you point out that you're allergic to campaign games, because I feel similarly in practicality, if that's a good way to describe that. But then in excitedness, you're going to notice that I have quite a few big box campaign games, because they get me really excited. I love big boxes with lots of stuff and miniatures and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I see all those up there.
Yeah, there you go.
But when the time comes, will I actually play it? Who knows? Ideally, eventually, I'll get a board game table and have Doollin over regularly, and we can leave it set up and play it through that way. But I am with you there on not actually getting them to the table as often as I need to.
We can just become a Frosthaven channel. It's fine.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Check out Tablenauts for Frosthaven content.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so my number 5 has changed 4 times today. Because I just really wanted to sneak extra games on this list. And I think I'm going to stick with what I
still hasn't decided
to now. What do you say?
I said you still haven't decided. You're making it up on the spot.
Here's the thing. I have one circled, and so I'm going to go with that one. Okay. And it's Nemesis Lockdown by Awakened Realms and Adam Kopinski.
Yes.
I don't know if you've played the first one, Tia, but we love Nemesis. It is a semi-cooperative horror game where, oh my gosh, it's just, the first one feels like Alien, the board game, where you're running around the ship as these squishy little humans who can die on each turn to these really horrifying creatures. But this one is on Mars. It'll have, one of the things that I'm really excited for is there's a tier system to the base. So you'll be going through different levels of the base as you go on and have to deal with the light and the power. But there's all new aliens and they look
terrifying.
And oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. I don't know if we even have the group to be able to play it again, but I'm really looking forward to this.
I think Nemesis works. Draco's all over me today. I think Nemesis works pretty well at 2. I'm not going to say it's like best, because I think you're predominantly going to play it fully cooperative at 2.
Yeah.
But like, I think you still get the Nemesis vibe, right? Like you might miss out on that semi-co-op experience, but you're still going to get that horror, can we survive this, doing everything we can to get off the ship thing. I definitely think it's a game we need to play again. And Lockdown looks incredible. And I've heard from people that didn't like Nemesis that do like Lockdown. So, I mean, I'm all about it. I'm excited to hear what changes they've made and what to expect moving forward. But I honestly haven't looked into it that much.
Every time I see it, I get really excited. I love Mars as a theme too, so going there and being on a base there sounds really, really neat to me. But that's my pick.
It's definitely a must-play game. You know, whether you'll love it or not, I don't know, but I think everyone should at least try it because it's a very unique experience.
my number 4 pick is a game that was kickstarted last year, and the printed copy should be arriving soon, and that is Grove, which is a small 18-card game. Now, I do have a print and play version that I created, but I'm really excited for the published version. It's from Side Room Games. They have such amazing production quality, and if y'all aren't familiar, those of you who are here back on the channel, back in the day, I did a little preview video for Grove with my print and play copy, and essentially it's 18 cards that you're going to be stacking on top of each other, layering fruits, and trying to get the biggest grove by increasing the pips on the dice values for each time you overlap the same type of fruit. This is a direct sequel to a game called Orchard, which is also by Mark Tuck and features a lot of the same mechanics. But the thing that I'm really excited about for Grove is the fact that the backs of all of the cards have unique scoring objectives. So it changes the gameplay from each round. You have to utilize different strategies, and I'm just really excited because for the Kickstarter, they said you can order as many copies as you want, and the basic shipping is how much you'll pay. So I was just well, I'm going to order all the copies and give it to everyone. Because
that's awesome.
While it is primarily a solo game, you can play with as many people as you have copies for. So if you have 4 copies, you can play it as a 4-player game because the cards have numbers. So you just put them in the same order and see who can do the best with those objectives and with that order of cards. So
that's cool.
I am jumping in. This looks amazing.
I think this was one of the first videos I saw from your channel, actually, was when you
Oh, really?
I believe so. It looks very familiar. It's been a long time, but as soon as you pointed it out.
Little dog.
Oh, I think that was the Monopoly dog, but it's so cute.
One of the new elements is that there are squirrels, so that was probably a print and play version, and someone was like, furry critter, I'll use that.
Yeah, someone made a clay squirrel in this one.
Yeah.
Look at them go.
That is my number 4 pick, Grove.
Very cool.
Now, I'll have to decide which is my number 4 pick, considering you all ordered these, and I didn't realize it. I'm going to go with, you know what? I'll go with this because it's my number 4 because of what we were talking about earlier, in that I am very excited for it, but it's big campaign game. So I'm going to leave it lower on the tier list because Aeon Trespass Odyssey, as amazing as it looks, is probably not going to be a game that gets a lot of table time, at least right out the gate.
Frosthaven and Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Let's go.
Big guns. I know you've heard about it, Doollin, just for me discussing it with you. Have you heard about this at all, Tia?
I have not.
Okay. Have you ever heard of Kingdom Death Monster?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So this is kind of like a Greek version of Kingdom Death Monster is how I would phrase it. It's like they try and do a lot of what Kingdom Death Monster has done. Obviously not copy the game 1-to-1, but they admitted themselves they took a lot of inspiration from Kingdom Death Monster. And then it's about like these big Olympus gods and giants, and you're just trying to fight. It's the same kind of settlement building, arena, like boss battling kind of game. And I know it's going to be giant. There's going to be beautiful miniatures. So it's, again, probably going to sit on the back burner as much as I want to play it, but not actually being played. But it's so exciting to me. Like I love these big campaign games. I have Kingdom Death, and it's one of my favorite games, but I haven't played it in a year and a half because it's too much. It's too much. And so I'm afraid this is going to be the same. But it's one of those things that if I can get Doollin or Danielle or somebody also invested, then that'll make it a lot easier for me to, willingly set it up and tear it down and whatnot. But very excited about that one.
That sounds awesome. I like that it's got a Greek theme on it. Now, the real question is, does it have the fan service minis that Kingdom Death Monster has?
I don't know the answer to that, actually. As far as I'm aware, no. But it would not surprise me, all things considered. I mean, look at these miniatures are like, some of these are huge. This is like one of the Olympus gods, but it just looks so exciting and cool. And we'll see if it's actually good. I've not played it, but I am excited about it nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, my pick is very different than that one. Some people actually already have this, but I don't think it counts as a 2021 game, mainly because it's not on shelves yet, and the United States doesn't have any copies. Otherwise, I would have it right now. And that is Azul Queen's Garden. I desperately want to play this game. Azul, I think right now is my number my number 5 game
7?
of all time? Number 6?
I want to say it's 7, but around
7.
there.
Okay, either way, I'm maybe overrating it a little bit. But I love abstract puzzle-y games, and this just seems to be, from what I've heard, one of the best Azules yet. And it's been said that it is like the original, but more difficult, more crunchy. And I think for fans of Azul, this is going to be a really big hit because you might have played a copy of Azul 100 times now, like me, and you're looking for something a little new, a little fresh, and maybe a little more difficult. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I love the hexagon little pieces. I think that they're going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to this. I thought it was already going to be out by now, but it is not.
Yeah, I really like both Summer Pavilion and Base Azul. I've not played Sintra. And I like them for very different reasons. And just what little I know about Queen's Garden, I'm hoping it kind of meshes those reasons well. Like in Azul base game, it's all about, like, if you want to be mean, that's the Azul to play. Like, that is the one that focuses primarily on drafting. Like, that is its main, and I know that's the same, it's the main core mechanism of Summer Pavilion as well, but Summer Pavilion I treat, at least, as more of a multiplayer solitaire type thing, where you're not going to be able to harm your opponents as much as you are in Base Azul. And I really like, I assume that this little track here is kind of like the track in Summer Pavilion, which once you like fill up a certain area, you're able to take a particular tile from there. And I'll be honest, the one thing that I love the most is like this little tower over here.
Yeah,
because I love that thing in Summer Pavilion. Like, there's nothing more satisfying than just dumping stuff in there, and it wasn't in the base Azul. So now I'm looking forward to this.
I was gonna say I'm a big fan of the OG Azul. I played Sintra, which for me personally, I wasn't a huge fan of because the drafting wasn't as tight and punishing. So I kind of shied away from trying any other Azuls in lieu of just getting all the promo content and expansions for the original Azul. But this one did pique my interest. I think the theme is really something that appeals a little bit more to me. Like you said, Doollin, the hexagonal tiles intrigue me because who doesn't like hexes instead of squares? Yeah, so this is definitely one that I'm warming up to the idea of a second Azul in the collection for sure.
Oh, come on, it's got birds on it.
It's available. I'll let you know how it is.
Oh, perfect. Speaking of birds, number 3 pick is Vendetta. And this is a small 1 to 2 player game from Chase S. Step, I believe his last name is pronounced. So it got kickstarted last year. It was a print and play before that, and I have not printed and played it yet. I had just heard such good things about the print and play, and then lo and behold, there was going to be a Kickstarter for a published copy, which, if I read it correctly, I think the art was public domain that he got from like a library catalog or something.
Yes.
So, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such gorgeous art. Like, how does that even... How does that even happen? But it is going to be a game where you're taking different birds and manipulating dice in the middle. Honestly, Max and Doolin, you guys can probably explain it better than I can since y'all have played it and done a review over on your channel. So you guys can go check that out on Tablenauts as well.
Thank you.
After this, if you're excited. But yeah, this is just one that I'm really excited that a lot of publishers, well, smaller micro game publishers especially, are putting out free print and plays and then going to Kickstarter. You know you're going to get your money's worth. There are definitely some larger Kickstarter games that I've backed that, like Max said, I was really excited for, but I don't play them as often. So these smaller games are ones that typically I know I can just throw in my wallet and like play on my lunch break or, you know, in between other games. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one. This is another one I backed multiple copies of. Like I
think I did too. I got 2 copies.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to this as well. Like I said earlier, it was my very first solo game. Max sent it home with me just to try it out because he wanted a review on both parts of the game. And I think in one sitting, I played 9 rounds of it, just trying different versions. Because there's like different cards, right? Like different campaigns, or not campaigns, but like missions.
Yeah, like this card over here that says India and Sri Lanka, that changes around. It gives you different objectives each time you play, different difficulties, stuff like that.
And man, is it difficult too. Like, oh my goodness.
It can be very hard. Yeah. I really liked this game. We played it both at the 2-player count, which I thought was a nice little duel. There is ways to like harm your opponent, like manipulate the dice to remove an option that you know that they want, which is unique. It's certainly not like as mean as something like Base Azul or anything like that, but you can certainly change the outcome and harm your opponent in that way. But the solo is really good too. Like Doollin said, first solo game ever. I thought it ran really smoothly. You played in about 15 minutes, and if you lost, you lost. And if you wanted to play again, you could, but it wasn't something that required a lot of setup, a lot of downtime, anything like that.
That's what we're all about here, baby.
Yeah, that's
low
right.
barrier of entry, maximum payoff.
One. We're gonna go with a game called Vagrant Song. And this is by Word Miniatures, I think. I forget what else they've done. They've done another game that I can't recall off the top of my head, I think at least. But yeah, he is all about me today. Like, I put him on the floor like 20 times already, so I'm kind of just giving in. Like, he can have his way. But Vagrant Song is like a theme and an art style that really resonates with me and works with me. It's a lot like what is the other game? What is the other game that just came out?
Townsfolk Tussle?
Townsfolk Tussle in its kind of art style, the Cuphead, like 40s kind of aesthetic. And I really dig that. It's nice and colorful, vibrant, and new, kind of fresh. We haven't seen many games in the board game universe, at least, utilize that kind of theme and art style. Yeah. And it's like a cooperative horror. I mean, with this horror as you can get with this art, kind of game about like, being on a train, and like, it just looks really interesting. It's a boss battler in the same sense of Kingdom Death and things like that. Townsfolk Tussle again. But yeah, I just really think that the theme and the art looks awesome, and I like co-op games. Doollin like co-op games. Doollin's excited about this one, so I know this is one that like we're going to table because we're both really looking forward to that. So it makes it a little more exciting when someone else is invested as well. And I know that this is going to be one that we're both like super looking out for in the coming months. Hopefully, there were limited copies available at Origins, but no one that I'm aware of has found one since. So
we're on to number 3. This one. Oh, man. It was a toss-up between these top 3, which one I was most excited for. This one I think is going to be one of my favorite games ever. And it's by Wise Wizard Games and Paul Waite. It's Robot Quest Arena. This is a deck building game. They were known for Star Realms, which is one of my favorite deck builders. But the cool thing about this one is that you're drafting cards to control these little miniature robots on a battlefield. And so in a way, it's almost like a skirmish game too. So all of the cards you're drafting will give your little robot extra powers, maybe some shields, some movement, and also some extra attacks. And I love the concept of this because those two types of games are some of my favorites. But on top of that, the little robots that come with it are so adorable, and I want to collect every single one of them. They look amazing. I want all of them, and they're gonna come in little packs like that, like almost like action figures. It looks awesome. And if you're into deck builders, I think they already have proven that they can do those really, really well. So I don't know when. This is the only problem with this one. I don't know when in 2022 this is going to come out. It could be towards the end, but I'm hoping that it comes out maybe around June or July. We'll see.
This one looks amazing. I've not played Star Realms, but I have played and love Hero Realms. So when I heard about this one, someone showed me and they showed me the art. I'm like, I don't care. Deck building from a solid like deck building designer plus cute little robots. Nah, I'm in. There's no question about it.
Awesome.
This was a guaranteed back for me until Doollin backed it, and I was very glad that he did. Save me some money,
think it took me maybe 15 minutes from when somebody told me it was live for me to back it.
Yeah, I think we were talking, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you interested?" He's like, "Yeah, I can't wait till it comes on Kickstarter." I was like, "It's on Kickstarter," and he's like, "Oh, backed it." It was like seconds later.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, like Big Hero 6, like Pokemon vibe. It's like what I get from the art and the theme of it. And I've never played. I've played Star Realms like twice, right? But like I've never really invested much time into any of the Wise Wizard games. So I'm really looking forward to it. Like you said, miniatures, it looks beautiful. I don't have any inside knowledge here, but after seeing a copy at PAX in the demo area, like it looks pretty done, right? So I'm not saying it'll come out anytime soon, but I would expect the first half of the year. I don't think you'll have to wait until late this year, but what do I know? I don't know anything. So I'm just speaking hypothetically, giving people false hope.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Max just heard us. It's going to be 2024.
Oh, I just got an email from Wise Wizard. They told me to shut up.
Going into number 2, another Kickstarter game. This is like literally half of the games that I've ever backed are on this list. But this is actually another sequel game, which is Hanamakoji 2 Geisha's Road. So the original Hanamakoji is a really tight 2-player game with an I cut you choose mechanic, and Geisha's Road expands that for more players. So you're going to be playing kind of a tug of war between your geishas to upgrade them from apprentices into full-time geishas. The art for this game is absolutely fantastic. This was one of the first games I bought ever, the original Hanamakoji, and I didn't know much about it. I just saw the box. I'm like, I need that. Whatever it is, I'm getting it. And it is one of my favorite games. So when they announced that they were coming out with this second kind of outing in the series, I was very excited because while I do love Hanamakoji, I don't get to play it as often because it's just a 2-player game. So having one where we can play with up to 5 players, I mean, we're going to play it every game night for a long time. And the Kickstarter also included 7 mini expansions for the original Hanamakoji, which have different tiles. So the I cut you choose, it comes with 4 basic ones that you use throughout the game, but it's going to have different ones that will allow you to manipulate the cards a little bit differently and some of the items. So I'm just all over excited for all the Hanamakoji. Like, if they make a Hanamakoji 50, I will buy all of them gladly and have them all on my shelf.
Hopefully they continue to make it to where the boxes can be pushed together too and make it a pretty
so
picture.
That is the dilemma. I'm not sure if they create like a panorama kind of picture, but they are offering a reprint of the original Hanamakoji, which will be in this new, they're partnering with Taiwan Board Games design. So they're offering a reprint of the original Hanamakoji that matches this version in terms of like the publication, and it comes with a really nice sleeve that holds both games. But I'm not willing to let go of my Empress 4 copy because it's such a nice little box. So I think I'm going to order, well, not think, I know I'm going to have 2 versions of Hanamakoji, the base game. I'm also going to have Hanamakoji 2 and now all of the mini expansions as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. And this is one that my partner Duke also did the full backing of, even though he already has the base game too. It's just it's just such a fantastic game. Have you guys ever played the original or any of it before?
I know next to nothing about Hanamakoji.
Oh my god!
I actually did not know anything about this until I watched your, I believe, 2-player video recently and found out about it. And I immediately was drawn in. It was on my list. Like, I don't know. I come away from your videos with like 4 or 5 games to add to my wish list. And now it's a mile long. So thank you for that. But
you're welcome. Anytime. Yeah, this is a fantastic. If you just want a little 2-player game, I mean, it's so simple, right? You have those different tiles. So it'll be like you put out 3 cards and then your opponent takes 1 and you keep the other 2. So literally every action you do feels terrible because your opponent always gets something out of it, or you're getting rid of something for yourself. But it's equally bad for your opponent because then you get the first pick. So it's like very small, very quick gameplay, but it's a brain burner and it's very tense. But
well,
yeah,
I'm now
it's
very
fantastic.
Interested in even the original, despite having no connection or even idea of what it was prior to this. So you sold it well.
Yeah,
I'm glad that Max is interested because then I can knock it off my wish list.
yeah, you can buy it. We'll play it. That sounds good. That sounds good, Doollin.
Yep, so that is my number 2 pick, Hanamakoji 2. I just realized it's 2-2.
See, I am deciding right now between what my number 2 and my number 1 is. But I'm going to go with this is number 2. No, you know what? Nope. I'm gonna change it up right now. We'll talk about that one in a minute. Changing it up right now. One of the games, my number 2 game that I'm super incredibly excited about is a game that I did not back initially when it was available for Kickstarter, but I jumped in at the late pledge. I love this publisher. I love the theme, and after having played the 2 games that, in my opinion, are kind of a mesh of them, I think it's going to be super fun, and that is Wonderland's War by Skybound Games. So Skybound is an amazing, publisher in the sense that their stuff is beautiful. They always have deluxe components. It's going to have the poker chips, whatever. I've never had a game from them disappoint me. They're not always my favorites, but I'm still really much looking forward. I'm still very much looking forward to this one. It is a Alice in Wonderland area controlled deck builder with this like beautiful cartoony art and miniatures. I'm sorry, deck builder. That's not the word. Area control bag builder is the word that I meant to say there. And like, to me, I could be totally wrong about this, but to me, it seems like it's going to mesh something like Quacks of Quedlinburg with something like Blood Rage, which are two games that I very much enjoy. And then you combine that with the theme and the production. And I mean, as vain as it is, people love theme, people love production. It's easier to get people to play games that are pretty. I mean, it's just the way it is. So I think having a beautiful game with this kind of theme might be easier to draw in people, despite it being maybe on the heavier, medium heavy side. But I'm so incredibly excited about this. Obviously, unfortunate circumstances with the shipping delays and stuff like that. I don't know when we'll see it. But I'm hoping sometime in the next 6 months. We'll see. I don't know. I have no idea. Sorry, James, but I'm really looking forward to this one.
My number 2 very well could have been my number 1. The only problem, and I think the biggest reason why it's not number 1, other than number 1's just fantastic, is the fact that they just announced another one, and that one's theme might be more approachable. I don't know, but this is Zombicide Undead or Alive by Simon Games and Raphael Gaetan, I think is how you pronounce his name. But I am already a huge fan of Zombicide Black Plague. I've gotten to play Zombicide Invader quite a few times. I've not gotten to play the newest second edition of the original, but this one, I love the Old West theme. I love everything about the stuff that they're adding. Like, they're adding a campaign. They're adding a better level up system than they already have. I think even and man, these games are always just overproduced, and they add so many add-ons that are crazy. I think they've added even, I don't know if you guys are Back to the Future fans, but they have Doc and Marty, Doc and Marty? I'm getting it confused with Rick and Morty.
They also have Bernie Sanders, don't they?
Yeah, him and his mittens thing. Yeah,
Old Sheriff Mittens or something like that. Yeah, I think that's what his name is.
And it's just really, really cool theme to a game that I apparently is already going to be really, really great. They have a train system that's going to be fun where it'll randomly run through the map and run over a whole bunch of zombies. But I love co-op games, and these always remind me of my days playing Left 4 Dead on my Xbox with my dad, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully it comes here very soon, and you'll maybe see some on store shelves in the first quarter of this year, but I love
how we keep making predictions when we have no freaking clue.
Here's the thing. They've already asked for, they asked back in November for permanent address. And normally that is a sign that it's ready. But we'll see. Hopefully it comes soon. I don't know.
Have you ever played a Zombicide, Tia? Or you
I actually have not had the pleasure. I really want to try Black Plague because I'm a fantasy junkie. So that particular instance really appeals to me. I do enjoy zombie games, but again, it's one of those where it's hard to find the time and the investment. And it's one of those things where I'm a completionist. So if I have one, I need all of it. And that is very expensive. I always have to weigh my options of if I back Grove or Bandada on Kickstarter, I don't feel bad because my wallet barely notices it. It's like, it did one sit up, but I'm trying to go all in at this point and find the entire original pledge for Zombicide Black Plague. That might be a little more painful.
Yeah, Max has that trouble right now too. From what I've heard from Alex at Board Game Co., who's a huge Zombicide fan, he said this one it reminded him of the mechanics from Black Plague, which was his favorite, but with some added bonuses and nice things that they've promised at least will come out by the final copy. So I'm really interested, and I should be because I went all in on it. So
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I think that brings us to our top pick. Yeah, exciting. All right, so my number 1 pick is another game, just like my 5 pick, that originally it was just the title and just the cover released. Nobody really knew much about it, but this one is a lot more recent, and hopefully it will be out a lot sooner. I know some of my friends overseas have like gotten copies and have played it, so just waiting over here for it. But that is Bitoku.
Ooh.
And this is a little bit of a chunkier game than I usually am willing to pre-order. Usually I like to get my research in first, unless it's a smaller game or a game that's based off of one. But this one looks absolutely fantastic. So it's got elements of a little bit of deck building. It's got a lot of worker placement. It has dice, which is like all of the larger games that I really like that have those elements, like Gugong or, Coimbra, Rajas of the Ganges. This looks like that, but with a theme that I'm absolutely in love with. So it's that whole Japanese spirit forest kind of vibe. And oh my gosh, I'm just so excited. I can't even even just looking at it now, I'm like, I just want to play it. I hope it's here soon.
I was going to say this game does an incredible job of looking at the pictures and I just get physically excited. I can feel it in my body that I'm excited to play this. This is one that I could have and should have brought home from PAX. They had copies there available for purchase. But it's heavier than I think that we can that we're used to, that Doollin and I are used to. Maybe we can, I'm sure we can handle it. We can handle it. We can figure it out. But that's not like our wheelhouse. We're typically middle lightweight gamers for the most part. And I've also never really played that many Euro games. My favorite Euro game being like Castle of Burgundy. And then I just recently played Orléans and love Orléans. And so I'm excited to kind of dip my toes into that, which of course makes me regret not picking this up when I was at PAX, because it is just, it's disgustingly beautiful. It's so beautiful, it hurts.
Yeah, I've heard good things. There are a lot of moving parts, so it's a little investment just learning what all the different tracks do. But like I said, another one of my favorites in this kind of genre of games, Gugong, is very similar, or even Coimbra, where you have all these different tracks and you're moving about them, but all of the different strategies are valid. So it's one that you can definitely take a lot of plays to kind of suss out what your favorite strategies are. But I'm so excited to explore every single one of those tracks. Oh my gosh.
Whoever took the photos for this game did a great job, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Meeple, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Shout out.
Photos.
They always have great photos everywhere all day.
I know little to nothing about this, but just from what you said and the pictures, I'd be willing to learn this and play it. I think that if Max got it, he would probably send it home with me.
Yep. I'm trying to do better about learning my own stuff. I learned, I was taught Orléans, but I can teach it now. I'm getting there. I'm feeling it.
What is the player count for this?
1 to 4. Hey, so if I'm feeling real spicy, maybe I'll just make a tutorial video, a solo party that's 3 hours long.
That's right.
You guys can learn it from that.
3.68. I don't know how much weight. I don't know how much weight to put in the BGG weight ranking, because that's not that bad. 3.68 is not that heavy, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that I should put much stock into that opinion, but
yeah. I think it's one of those games that if you're the one learning it and teaching it, it's a little bit, but after a play or two, you're just oh yeah, that's what that track does. And one of the things that I really like is that the iconography in this game looks like it's going to be very, very intuitive. And once you know kind of what the tracks do, you won't have to memorize everything. That's what always gets me with some bigger games, when the iconography isn't great or you don't have a really nice player aid. But this one looks like it's really streamlined in that regard. So I'm very, 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 very excited.
Yeah, poor iconography and lack of player aids is the whole reason that Castle of Burgundy doesn't get pulled out as often as it should. It's an amazing game. It's not pretty, and not only is it not pretty, but they didn't even do a great job with iconography, no player aids. It really is a struggle. That rulebook sits open at the table. So I'm right there with you. Any game that can streamline the experience after the initial learn, because, iconography and stuff like that is just, it knocks it out of the park. It makes it so much easier to re-table.
Look at that dragon.
I know.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So cool.
The only thing I knew to start was the name, the cover, and then there was a BGG forum being like, is somebody going to change the name of this game? Because in French, apparently it's a very rude phrase. So I was like, oh.
Maybe.
And then I read what the phrase was. I was like, oh. Okay. So y'all can look that up on your own time. I don't want to get demonetized, but that's
great.
my number one pick, Batoku. The Japanese word Batoku.
It looks awesome.
I think the Japanese word Batoku. I think Doollin is going to be happy and mad at me all at the same time, because I did not pick the one that he thinks I picked, which means it probably should have gone on his list.
Oh no. Okay.
But the one I did pick is another one that I think Doollin's very excited about that I'm not sure if he considered, because I almost missed this. I almost didn't consider this game. And that's because it is in fact, it is our favorite game of all time, but it's going to allow it to be played better at 2. And that is Root, the Marauder expansion.
No, I considered it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I love Root, and it is not a game that you can really play at 2 well, right? I mean, people do it, people enjoy it, but it's not meant for that. It's certainly more of a 3 to 4 player experience. But the Marauder expansion, not only does it add new factions like it always does, but it also adds these hirelings that can be used to kind of give your faction, instead of your faction being the cats, your faction can be the cats, and then you have these hirelings which do your bidding, and they're a little bit different. They change the game up and they allow you to do other things. So I think that having the hirelings as well as 2 factions that are supposed to also play better at 2 is going to make this a game that can be really tabled at any player counts at this point in time. Finally, which Doollin and I both love Root. I haven't played my physical copy in ages. I don't think maybe never. I've played Root over 80 times this year, and like 78 of them have been on the app. So it's one of those things that I'm hoping with the Marauder expansion, I'll actually be able to sit down and table it, whether it just be Doollin and I or Danielle and I. I'm hoping it expands the game to us to allow that to happen.
Have you played Root much, Tia?
Yes, I love Roots. I was on board from like the original printing before all the expansions, and I remember still I was so excited when they released that first Clockwork board for the for the marquee, and I went through and learned the solo rules, but it was so broken. But I played every single faction that was available at that time. Solo, just because I was like, I love this so much. I don't care if it's broken. It's super swingy, but they fixed that with the newest one. But yeah, very excited for this as well. And can I just say, I love the fact that the back is a winter board. I love winter themes. And I know they added another board for the crows and the moles, but like, who wants to dig in the dirt when you can have beautiful, gorgeous winter forest? Like, come on. I know I should try it, but I'm so attached to the winter board. I just can't like not use it. And y'all have a really cool video over on your channel ranking the Root meatballs, which Duke and I may do at some point once this new
you can rank.
Please, please do it. I'm curious. You don't have to spoil anything if you don't want to, but whose list did you agree with more? What are some of your favorites?
Was the otters the top one?
For me, it was. Yes.
Yeah. I have to say the otters are really cute, but I do love the lizard folk because
that's okay. We can just stop it at the otters are cute.
So it was hard. It was hard to choose. Plus the lizards are like that weird chartreuse color that you're like, that's not really a color, but that's a color and I like it. We look so mischievous.
The lizards are great. I agree.
That little smirk. That little smirk is so cute. I love it.
Yep.
All right, Doollin, round us out, buddy. What is your number one?
My number one, if you know me at all, it shouldn't come as any surprise to anyone. I'm a plaid hat junkie. I'm a Jerry Hawthorne fan. This is Familiar Tales. This is a game that all of my friends at PAX played without me and decided to mock me for it the whole time. But it's supposed to be this really, if you know the plaid hat game experience, it's a co-op game with a really cute theme and a really great story. Written and created by Jerry Hawthorne, my favorite board game creator. And you're basically playing these familiars. So there's like a stone. And Max, you've actually played this. Do you want to help me out with what the different characters are?
Yeah. So essentially, think like Disney fairy tale.
Yeah.
But you are the little critters that help her along on her path. So you've got the little child who starts the game out as a literal like baby, and it's your job to protect her. And throughout the story, she's going to grow older and become a party member that you can utilize with her own cards instead of abilities. You have like a fox who is better at like sneaking and fighting. And then you have this like fairy who's good at magic, and this stone who's good at defense, and this frog who's good at, I don't even recall, sneaking or something, ranged weapons. I don't remember. But yeah, I think it does like, it's really interesting in how they utilize like the different strengths of each character. I really thought that was great. And each person, it's like a deck builder at the same time, which we didn't play long enough for me to experience adding new cards or anything like that. We just played like the bare bones first scenario. It's app driven. From what I saw and heard, the storytelling and audio was sound. It was quality. I enjoyed all aspects of that. And I enjoy anything with like a flip book, because that just makes the setup so much easier, right? Like, give me a flip book, show me what to do. We're good to go. I'm really excited for Familiar Tales, especially because I know it's obviously one that you're going to table 100%.
Oh, for sure. And the voice acting in it, I'm pretty sure a lot of it is by like
board gamers,
like creators in the space, which is really neat.
Paula Deming, I believe, has a part in this, which isn't super surprising. She's done other stuff before too, but I don't have the list pulled up. But I think I sent you that list at one point. But there was a whole list of people that we like knew the names of. They were like, oh, they're doing the voice acting for this. Yeah.
I don't know who I gotta get in with to be on a future game, but I'll do it for free. You don't even have to pay me. I might even pay money.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Jerry, get in here, Jerry.
You're gonna get a whole bunch of DMs about voice acting for free now for board games.
Hey,
just random people being like, "Yo, you want to voice act for my game I'm releasing?"
It's got 800 lines. It'll require about 22 hours, but unpaid, totally unpaid.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, that sounds really fun to me. So,
for now, until you start doing it.
So thanks for being here, Max and Doollin. Again, make sure you check them out over on Tablenauts. Like in 5 seconds when we wrap up the video, they have fantastic content, and watching their videos always puts a smile on my face. I'm really just like sitting there laughing along like a fool, you know, just enjoying board games. And they have a lot of really different content than we have here, but it's all very exciting. So it's something maybe a little more hip and a little more relevant than me pulling out games from like 20 years ago, being like, yo, you guys want to play this game? So, but yeah, thanks so much. And also be sure to check out over on Tablenauts on their channel. Doollin and I are going to be recording and putting out a top 10 solo starters. So be sure to check that out to see what Doollin's picks are, as well as mine.
And Max will tag along.
Yeah, I'll join in.
Max will be there too.
Thank you for having us, Tia. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right, I'll do a countdown from 3. Ready? 3.
Oh, that's making me nervous.
No.